So there is some hip movement. Some similar elements, right? You see how as you go forward, it's really that kind of motion going forward, really using the shoulders and kind of opening up. So you're high here, right? So it's so really using the shoulders to muscle the stroke a little bit more, and then instead of letting the body do the work, you're also ending up a little bit high at the back.
Okay.
So let's take a look at that. So at full speed, you see how that right shoulder throws forward?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So that's a motion we want to be careful of, because that's that stretch there that puts that in a weak position,
Yep.
right? So keeping this in line with the body and moving from the body. That'd be the most important thing that I'm seeing
Okay.
here to focus on, is keep this in its socket to keep it protected and move from here.
Okay.
A lot of good elements though, right? We still see good body angle, pretty good extension, both arms really, and even though your shoulder's a bit high, right, it's not ridiculously high, right? So
Okay.
it's not bad, it's just gotta relax it a little bit more. Blades buried past your toes, so good extension. The big piece is right through here.
Right.
And one of the things that you'll hear, ideal world is kind of sitting up. You know, if you could plant your blade and then sit up and derotate the moment you're planted.
Mm-hmm.
You'll sometimes hear coaches say that, you know, one of the things that a paddler can never do quickly enough is sit up quickly enough, right? But certainly I think you could sit up a little quicker than you are.
Okay.
What I mean by that, so you're buried here, right? You've gotten to the point where you're fully buried. So if I were, you ever see like the video games where they shoot the guys in the green screen with the stop motion balls,
Oh.
right? And they've got the little, so they can capture their movements. So if you can imagine that for a paddle stroke, right? If I had a stop motion ball on the top of my head, as I go forward to the front of my stroke and plant, right? From the time that I'm fully planted at the front of the stroke, I want that stop motion ball to go forward and back, right? And then as I exit, that stop motion ball goes forward and down.
Okay.
What we want to minimize is from the time we're entering the water, is that stop motion ball
Oh.
continuing to go forward and down and around.
Okay.
And for you, it's not so noticeable with your head, but just in terms of body angle. So you're here, you're fully buried. See how that top shoulder fires over and that right shoulder's lifting up, and you haven't sat up at all, right? Haven't sat up at all. And now is really where you start sitting up, and it starts happening faster and faster
Yep.
after you're already through the negative. So, Comedy has a good phrase for this. She says it's sitting up as an afterthought. So instead of sitting up as part of powering the stroke, right, the sit up and derotation, right, you're firing the stroke, and then you're sitting up to create room to get your paddle out of the water.
Mm-hmm.
So in terms of that sequencing will get easier as you're moving from your hips more, which is something to be cautious of. That, and particularly we see this with paddlers that are strong up through the shoulders, that they really want to attack it. And so it becomes about trusting the hips a little more and sitting up with that motion. So it's happening together instead of firing over and sitting up after.
Okay.
Okay, next up.
Thank you.